What's up? Got another thermal hunting video for y'all along with a story. So the other night we came back from a hunt and discovered these, what wound up being 4 pigs and at least 3 piglets out in our pasture. Now, as you can see, the cows are all around them, and even though they see me literally every single day, they, as I was moving up, decided to spook into the sounder and run them off. This was especially annoying because we figured that these were probably the pigs that have been rooting in our pasture like every single night. Finally, they show up around midnight when we happen to be out looking, and they just get run off. Thankfully, there was still one boar just hanging out in the middle of the big spot that these hogs and other hogs in the past have liked to go out and root between 2 ponds on our property. So as soon as we came to the realization that we're not going to be able to chase down that other group, we started approaching him. And if you thought the cows would eventually settle down, you were wrong. By the way, sorry for the obscenely shaky camera. I was kind of trying to move up as fast as I can while also staying quiet, and I just couldn't keep the rifle still. Now, right about here, I see the boar pick his head up, and I just get this sunken feeling in my chest, like, oh no, this one's about to spook and run off too. We're gonna lose him. He gets out of my sight here, and Nolan is a little bit to my left, and he's able to kind of see him through the breaks in the trees. I keep moving up and kind of going out to the right, hoping that I'll run into him again, which I finally do. And he's made it back several yards towards the back of the pasture, and unfortunately he did stop, but it was now going to be a much longer shot, and so we just continued moving up to the trees that we were hoping to prop on. Finally, I make it up to the tree and get propped, and I've got a nice stable shooting position. I tried to shift around to get more stable, and this vine winds up blocking my scope. I wind up having to kind of maneuver around it. Once that's out of the way, Nolan gets up to my left on the other side of the tree, and we get ready to count down. And he gets dropped. You can kind of see my reticle jump to the right just a little bit, and to me it looked like it would have sent the shot just over the middle of his body. It wound up being a mid-body spine hit, and Nolan said he was aiming for body as well, so it could have really been either one of us that hit it. And it wound up being a good-sized boar. To date, I think this is the biggest one that I've shot. Now, fast forward a couple of days, and we get up at 5 a.m. in an attempt to find that same sounder that we'd lost, because they'd been rooting every single night, tearing up the pasture, and we just had no luck getting out there in time to find them. late at night, 10, 11, 12. So against all of my base quarantine level instincts, we rolled out of bed nice and early and got out there, and luckily we spotted them in the neighbor's field that they had been running towards. At first we only counted 3 adults and 3 small piglets. We scouted them out for a while, and then we returned back, checked on the deer that were in the next field over, and then swapped batteries and headed back up. Once we got the drone back on station, we started heading for the gap into the neighbor's field. Here you can see that 4th pig make its way out of the trees. Our shooting position is going to be just to the right of the trees that are in the bottom of the frame. This time I was the one carrying the thermal, and Nolan had the ATN night scope, which with a 3x zoom was just not doing very good in this foliage. We were only maybe 50 yards away from these pigs. We wound up really close to them by the time we got to the edge of those trees. Here I'm just looking around, checking my targets and exactly where they're located at, hoping that I can go from shooting one right to shooting more, trying to decide where I'm going to put my shot, since they were so hard to see in this dense ground cover. In hindsight, the first pig that I wind up shooting, its head was clearly to the left, and I wind up choosing the right side of the pig, and that's why I wound up hitting it in the upper hip area, which fortunately was enough to drop it straight away. So I take the first shot and I immediately start scanning to the right. I don't see the second pig that I was planning to shoot. You can tell from the drone footage that one of them just went straight to the left and got pretty close to us, probably 30 yards away, and it must have been under my scope, just in the grass. I didn't see it. It was pretty chaotic here. The first pig I had shot had been hit in its upper hip and was knocked down, not moving, but was squealing bloody murder. Nolan tells me to swing right, and I see this pig. It's moving to my left. I try to lead it, but it stops right before I take the first shot. The second shot was a quick follow-up that just didn't get back down on target in time, and then as it turned and ran away, I missed a third shot. This entire time, the first pig is squealing, and there's grunting from 2 sows that are both trying to get those piglets back in line. I think the one that went off to our left was probably a sow because we heard grunts coming from that direction. And then the one that I shot at there was most likely a sow as well, as she had stopped and was grunting. Here you see Nolan move the drone's camera, and he spots the 4th pig is just hanging out over there far to our right, and he's like, right, swing around to your right. I finally get swung around and spot it, and you can see I can barely see the thing, but we know it's there thanks to the thermal, and I just kind of put my reticle where I think it ought to be, and it winds up being a true shot. And at this point we were pretty clear. The other pigs had ran off, the squealing had stopped. After regrouping and taking care of the drone, we head over to the first pig and find that it is still alive. We had to put it down with a knife to the heart, and then from there we drug both these 2 pigs out. The second one was slightly gut shot, but it wound up not ruining very much of the meat, as we were able to butcher both of these successfully an hour or so later. And that's pretty much it. We haven't seen any signs of this sounder again yet, no more rooting. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the video. We'll be keeping an eye out to see if the rest of them return. Thanks for watching.